So I moved to a new cabin and moved everything and resting, and it's like a night and day. I thought at one point I can double pay so that I can have a little more room, but I stuck with that for 2 weeks, and that was a great experience. The thought I had to go through that experience, it's like this. You'll be limited in what you can do as you get old. So you have to find a way to adjust. And the pressure will be there in a way that you cannot do things that you could before. So perhaps that's my unknown thought that I'm testing every now and then to see my limit. Not too much because it's stupid, but in a way, I'm stupid. So when I came here, I wasn't sure what I want to go into. So I came here and checked before I signed up. And that was like before 2 weeks started. And I decided, okay, I think it's going to be interesting. Plus, I had this experience of being in this backpackers inn maybe 15 years ago. And the supermarket is nearby, and I have a bicycle from my cousin. So this looks like a good place. But that 2 weeks, meeting friends and having a great time was one, but orchestrating things with lots of things going on. Sometimes in the middle of the night there's music and people talking out loud and drinking. Or also inside the cabin there's a table and people may be quite noisy. And then I stuck with it. Reminded me of the first time I went into Vipassana, and there was a guy snoring in the same room, and I was just meditating and I could go sleep, and maybe those experience is built in me, and also thinking of the limitation and how can I be resilient and accept and move on, taking a wise decision. So that 2 weeks were great moment, meeting people especially too. But here, after having done the move, and there's nobody yet, so I'm the first one for this cabin. So there are 2 beds here, and there's another 2 and 2, 4 in the other room, but it's open so people can go in and out. But it's much better than 10 people in the other cabin I had, and often 10 people in there, and the same size of refrigerator, and the setting is similar. So let me share the difference that I feel, and maybe I'll start from this one because I developed this idea of having things that I can access when I'm in the bed. So I have this kind of arrangement. Things are hanging, and you can maybe able to see outside a papaya tree and some view. So the same bed like I did before, and someone's gonna sleep on top of me, and they're gonna move in maybe after 2 o'clock. So by then I'm by myself, but it will be 6 people altogether in this cabin. So let me share with you. Other than what I have shown up there, the room is much wider because there are 4 people in this size room before, maybe even smaller, I don't know. Let's see if I'm doing well. So all the stuff I have is some hanging clothes here, and a little thing in there, and the view outside. And there's a, you may be able to see the my back and the spear gun and stuff, and some of the other stuff up here. So that's this room, and I was on the other side. So if I move out of this room, there's a one bathroom, and previous place had two. And then this is a kitchen, and this is the same size refrigerator, and common room, and there are two bed and another two bed. And outside it's a little bit of that arrangement. So this will be the place I'll be living. How long? I don't know. But could be 2-3 months. I asked the lady the vacancy rate, and there's a possibility I may stay long. So that's my wetsuit hanging there, and further down, if you can see, is the they call it sofa lounge, and this is my place. I feel very lucky to be able to come here because it was almost like a coincidence. Only yesterday I asked if I can move, and at the time the answer was no. But then one person I met, Japanese guy, said he's gonna come here and may stay 4 or 5 nights. So that was the moment that I was lucky so that I could move in this room. I'm still digesting. I'll take a quiet time, organize things, and settle, and move on. No pain, no gain. I went through that one round for 2 weeks. What is come next? Unknown. But I'm more familiar with the setting and how to navigate in this new setting I'm in. Time to take a rest. One thing I forgot to mention but worth talking about is the idea of no pain, no gain, but specifically related to a couple people, maybe more, how they live their life, dedicating themselves to do what's necessary at the time. And one case is Daisetsu Suzuki, and he had a wife from the United States living together in Japan at one point, and this lady, Beatrice I think was the name, was sick, and when she was to die, basically, how long I don't know, but Daisetsu was every day with her doing best, to the point that other people surrounding felt why he is so dedicated. And he's old. I don't know how old, maybe 70s or I don't know. But he did his best for his wife. The other case is Kusunoki, who did lots of work on Myokonin, Shin Buddhism. Wonderful work. And I listened to his video, all of them, pretty much, and many times over, maybe several times. And not about his work, but what he did to his wife, similar perhaps to Daisetsu, but he spent time day in, day out, taking care of his wife. I don't know if there's anything related to those two people, because Kusunoki did do some work with Daisetsu, perhaps 20 years or so, and Kusunoki was a student listening to Daisetsu at the Otani University in Kyoto when Daisetsu was lecturing. So there's something perhaps communicated between them. And when I was talking about my no pain, no gain kind of story of finding the way to live in this crowded backpackers inn, I think it was yesterday probably, I was feeling that I could handle it because there's good reason for me to go through it. And I didn't know what that reason was precisely, but it's like testing my limit and whether or not I can handle it. And I could handle it. But now I'm resting and I'm really tired. There was that computer problem I had on top of, difficulties to navigate and where to put things even to that level. So now something happened and I'm here. So the reflection of that time, no pain, no gain. What is the gain? Why do I do that? Testing my limit, is that all? I think I'm testing how I can still endure stress in a proper manner, and it's not a game of testing, but it's more than that. It may look like a game, but there's a good reason. And what is that reason? I think I see it perhaps somewhat similar to the two cases I shared with Daisetsu and Kusunoki-san. Kusunoki. I don't know what it is, but if you are no ego, I'm not saying that I'm a person with no ego. I have ego popping up here and there, but if you're trying to orient to practice Samadhi multiple times a day and use that idea of Samadhi as a way to live, may all beings be happy. That kind of idea may be behind it. I didn't put those together, but I can see that, if there's any reason for anyone to endure things selflessly, there's something wonderful about it. Even if the person is really tired, they just do that. I think Miyokoni had a story like that. I cannot specify what that story may be that I read. Let me think about it. Yeah, I think the nature of what they did is doing everything possible to approach to practice an idea, may all beings be happy. Genza is one example. And even, was it Saichi who was helping the thief stealing his persimmon or something, and he put the ladder for the thief so that he won't get injured. That's maybe a little bit too much of extra case, maybe, but I feel like there's something related to it. Selflessness and doesn't have to have a reason. Maybe that's the way to look at it. In our logic, we want to see the reason, but we do it for the sake of doing it, if it's necessary. And I didn't want to avoid that. I want to face it. And I made mistakes here and there. That's okay. I think that spirit is good. It may sound that why should I be doing to live in this crowded backpackers inn and so forth. Maybe those thoughts was behind me to test, or environment just put me to go through that nature's way to see how I handle it. I learned the lesson. 2 weeks was good. I move on. Thank you.